Hi everyone, welcome to Tom's Man Shed. Right, now this video is, well, it was going to be a solve a problem type video, showing you how to do something to sort something out, but spoiler alert, it hasn't worked. It hasn't cured the problem. I'm still uploading the video, mainly as an appeal for you 3D printing guys out there to help me work out what this problem is. And if we get a solution, I'll do a video on what the definite solution is. So to cut a long story short, I've had a Creality CR6 SE now since they very first come out. It wasn't one of the Kickstarter ones I got, but it was very shortly after that. I've had it at least a couple of years, I would think. And I know there were problems with it at first, with sort of like a live voltage getting to the bed and the brackets at the front and causing problems. There was some problems inside with a faulty switch and fuse that was catching fire on some of them. But I didn't seem to have any of them problems. I had the voltage thing. I sorted that out with Kapton tape, and I'll mention that in this video. But my problems were non-existent, really. It worked great out the box. Never had anything go wrong with it. I've done loads and loads of upgrades to it, a lot of cosmetic parts, but I've also upgraded the firmware, which I've done videos on, put a different bed on it, put different fans, quiet fans in it. You cannot hear it now, it's totally silent. And like I say, it's been totally reliable. I absolutely love the thing. But one fault it developed, and quite a while ago, and I've been living with it, was that if the room is cold, and it's here in my man shed, just behind me, out of shot, if the room is cold, say below 10 degrees or whatever, like in winter when I first come into the shed, if I turn the heater on, the 3D printer on, I get a yellow screen, like a warning screen. I call it the yellow screen of death, like the blue screen of death in Windows. And it says there's a thermistor fault on either the hot bed or the hot end. It doesn't differentiate between two. But I diagnosed it down to the hot bed. The problem was with the hot bed. Because in summer, this doesn't happen. If the room is at sort of 20 degrees or whatever, it doesn't happen. So I warmed up the bed with a hairdryer. Not a heat gun, a hairdryer. It wasn't extremely hot, but it just got it up to sort of like its normal working temperature. And if I then turned it on, like I say, I'll show you all this during this video. If I then turned it on, no problem. No yellow screen, heater, the 3D printer started up, hot end heated, bed heated, did all its stuff, printed fantastic. And it does do fantastic prints. Check out some of my other videos. So it's going to be easier if I actually show you what I mean. So this is what happens in a nice warm room. Everything hunky-dory, just as it should be. Okay, so as you can see, we're in a nice warm room now. The room temperature is the white one on the left, 22.5 degrees. And if we go over to the printer, turn it on. And if we go to set up temperature and nozzle temperature, see it hasn't shut off, and bed temperature 60. Oh, sorry. Bed temp back. Bed temperature, hopefully I press the right one this time, 60 for bed. Yeah, so turn the nozzle up to, so that's more realistic. Nozzle 210 and bed 60. You can see they're both heating up now. Down below there, I'll turn this light off, hopefully it might be better. So you can see the nozzle is up to, it's counting up, 101, it's on its way to its target of 210, and the bed So yeah, as you saw there, great in a warm room. Now let's see what happens if I try it in a cold room. And by cold, I mean only 12 degrees. So it's not freezing, but 12 degrees at the when I did this in this room. And let's see what happens. Okay, you can see. Sorry about the voice. You can see it's 11 degrees in here now the following morning. Let's see if it plays up again. Right, we'll turn on here at switch. Screen comes on. If we click setup, temperature, nozzle temperature, 230. You can see it. You can see at the bottom there we're selecting nozzle temperature. But as you'll see, as soon as we select, bed temperature, oops, there we get the yellow screen of death, the THERMISTOR error, and it says on it. So I've had to do a voiceover at this stage because you could probably tell my voice was going then. But what it says is one of the temperature sensors on the bed or nozzle has malfunctioned. This can be caused by a poor electrical connection, damaged component or a software issue. Check the connections and or connect to a serial monitor to diagnose. Power the printer off, wait 5 seconds, then back on to clear this error. So yeah, so we diagnosed it down to it is the bed. It's not the nozzle because it's cured when we heat the bed up with a hairdryer, as you'll see later. There's no, as far as I can tell, poor electrical connections. All good connections. I've checked at the motherboard. There's no loose wires or anything. Don't know that. I've not connected a serial monitor. Don't know what that is. I wouldn't know how to diagnose it with a serial monitor. And if it is a software issue, again, I don't know. But when you power it off and power back on, it doesn't clear that error unless the bed is warmed up. So that's that. So for ages now, I've lived with this problem. Since this cold snap, I've been doing a couple of prints and I've had to do it, heat it up with the hairdryer. So I thought, I'm going to put a new THERMISTOR on the bed because it says THERMISTOR fault. And like I say, it's only when I heat the bed up that I get that it cures the fault. So I went ahead and I bought some THERMISTORs. I'll show you the ones I got from Amazon. Okay, so as you can see on Amazon, there are loads and loads. You type in THERMISTOR Creality and there's loads and loads of them. These cartridge type ones are the ones for the hot end. I know my problem isn't with the hot end, so this was the one I got. Well, I sent off for this first, and I thought I'll get the official Creality one. But it was $4.99 for one THERMISTOR, and then I saw this $8.99 for 5. So since my grandson has now got my CR10, and it also fits that, I thought I might as well buy these in case his ever goes. Only less than double the price, but you get 5 instead of 1, so I'll be returning that single one. So these are the ones I've got, and you can see on the end there how tiny the glass bead is. But yeah, there's loads. There's these. There's 5 there for $10.99, but they're not genuine Creality, and they contain the entire lead right back to the motherboard. It's just 2 bare wires there, so they actually tell you to snip the wires and just join them. So they are the ones I got. So as you saw, I got them. I'm going to be sending the single pack back. I know it's only $4.99, but it's exactly the same as the one with 5 in it for $8.99, so I might as well have the 5. So they are a tiny, tiny glass bead. I'll be showing you that fitting. Well, in fact, I'll show you now. We'll go through all the fitting of that THERMISTOR right now. So I thought it'd be easier to show you the removal of the bed in pictures instead of video. It would have been shaking like mad if I'd have tried to video it. So that's the start of it. That's the top left hand thing. The larger of them Allen screws are the ones that hold the bed on. Obviously you don't have to take the two little ones off, they're just holding the clip. But if you do want to put some Kapton tape on, which I'll be explaining shortly, you need to remove them as well. But just to take the bed off, start with one of the screws, say the top left one there. There they all are. I think there's about 11 or 12 of them in total, so remove all of them screws. And they go right through, but they're separated from the base bit by them plastic spacers. It's just the top bit that's a heated bed, and then plastic spacers separate it from the bed. Now this at the top left is where the power leads attach to the heated bed. Now I thought them two tiny little Allen screws, if I took them out, a plug had come out, but it doesn't. As you'll see in a second, all that is a cover, so you don't need to take them two screws out at all. So just leave them in. That's just a close-up of it, but it is just a plastic cover. You'll see in a minute the wires are soldered on. They're not on a clip, so yeah, you can see they're solidly soldered on, so you've no need whatsoever to take that plastic cover off. You might as well leave it on. Now the yellow one there, that goes to that's the earth lead, and there was a bit of controversy when this printer came out that there was a possibility that that spring metal clip that holds the glass in place could get live, because it was very, very close to the heating elements. If the metal touched them heating elements through the bolts, it could get live. So they said separate that with a piece of Kapton tape. I think mine had the Kapton when I got it from the factory, but I put some more on. I'll be showing you in this, putting even more on. But just to keep that metal clip separated from any chance of getting voltage up through it. So that's the whole plate off. That's what you see underneath it. Like I said, the yellow tape is called Kapton tape. It's a special electrical insulating tape that isn't affected by heat, or very little by heat. You can get really hot, it doesn't melt or anything like that, and it's to insulate the electrics from short circuits or whatever. So you can see the two black wires are the thermistor. You'll see shortly that's held in with a bracket, and that big white square is a piece of white heat insulation pad that's just held in place by the Kapton tape. And that's the tape peeled back, and there you see the white pad, and under there is the existing factory thermistor. And again, you'll see that's like it's encapsulated in like a hard black plastic, like epoxy or whatever, and it's glued onto that bracket. I tried pulling it apart, but it won't come out, and that is in turn bolted, a little tiny bolt to the nut and bolt to the bed. That's in close up. You'll see it off in a minute, and then it's just got some bit of white insulation, heat insulation or whatever over that to try and stop it, I would imagine, poking through that white insulated pad. But like I say, that is different than the new thermistors that you get. So you'll see how I fitted the new ones in a minute, but that's the existing one. With that black bit is the where it's glued in. And once you've scraped that stuff off, under there you'll see is a little tiny Allen screw, and that's the screw that holds it to the heated bed. And there you are. That's the Allen key in place. I suggest you get some really good Allen keys like Bondus. These are the ones I'm using. I'll put a link to them, an affiliated Amazon link to them below in the description, because the Allen keys you get with it, as you know, are pretty naff. But get yourself a good set, and they can reach awkward angles, having a ball tip and everything. And that's the whole bracket off, and you can see a bit closer there how it was constructed. But like I said, these new replacement ones are nothing like that, and you'll see how I fit the glass bead in a minute. Now these new ones, either the singular one I bought
or the packet of 5 that I showed you earlier on, held up to the camera, are tiny glass beads. So there's no way I can get that in that bracket, it's way too big. So what I'm going to do is just put it in there like that, making contact with the metal, and tape over it with some Kapton tape. I've already joined the 2 ends here, just twisted the wires round, cut through the existing black wires. This is what Creality themselves advise, not to run the whole thing back to the motherboard, just to snip them there, twist them round and seal them with tape. It's going nowhere, this thing. It's out of the way of anybody touching it or pulling it. It's under no strain, so that's going to be fine. They don't have to be soldered and heat shrinked. But if you want to do a perfect job, you can do that. But I've just done as what they suggest, so I'm going to get this in position now and stick the existing Kapton tape back and some extra as well. I'll say, okay, so I've got the glass bead in the hole there. It's not peeping out the other side, and it is touching the metal. And I've put a new bit of Kapton tape over that. So I'll place this insulation pad back where it was. Put that tape over. And I'll put a bit of Kapton tape across there and across there as well. Now, while it's off, I'm going to renew this as well. I'll put an extra bit. When they first come out, the CR6, there was some people were saying there was a problem. You could get these live electric through these due to these bolts going through and making contact with the heating element wires here. So they suggested you take them clips off and totally insulated under there with Kapton tape, which I did. But I'm going to do that again. Take this opportunity now it's upside down, and I'm going to put an extra bit on there to thoroughly sure that none of that metal bracket comes into contact with this base. So I'll do that now. And as you see here, there was no need to remove this cover. That's all it is a cover over there, whichever way it goes on. But I was thinking the screws might be on a plug to pull it loose, but as you can see, the wires are soldered onto the bed, so don't bother removing that, just leave it on. So I've renewed the Kapton tape around here, but I have scraped it away from this bit, because this is a ground. This yellow terminal is a ground terminal, as it says there, so obviously it has to be grounded, not insulated. So I have taped the Kapton, scraped it away from there, but it's still covering over here, so that metal bracket, this metal bracket, can't dig into any of the heating element wires under here. And also, I remember when, like I said, the early ones come out, under these front fixing brackets for the glass tray, for the glass base, these holes are extremely close to a heating element or something. So, I'm sure if you googled something like Kapton tape short circuit heater bed CR6, it had come up, but it did recommend putting Kapton tape under these front ones as well. So again, while I've got the opportunity, while the bed's off, I'm going to put an extra layer under there as well, that side and that side. Okay, so that's everything done. The new thermistor under there, some extra Kapton tape put on, the insulation pad back. As you can see, I've put an extra bit on here extending right the way out. When we turn it over, I'll trim the other side of that, I'll show you that. But we'll turn it on now in a warm room. Before I put it, I'll just turn it back the right way, but I won't screw it all back on its little posts. I just want to see if it does start getting hot. And like I said, we've got a warm room at the moment, as you can see. We're at 23, so we shouldn't get that fault, but we'll put it in a cold room or wait till tomorrow, turn it on and see if the fault has disappeared. So that's everything on, all the brackets, the Kapton tape under the front and the back. It's just now a matter of placing all these spacers. Oh, I've got one missing. All these spacers over the holes. I'm sure many years ago I read an easy way of doing this, but for now I'm just going to place the bed on top gently and hope it doesn't disturb any of them spacers. So I'll put the camera down now and try that. So it went alright actually. It's quite easy to line them all up if you're careful, and then just put them all in sort of quite loosely. And then I don't know whether it's important or not, but I would tighten them as you would say a cylinder head on a car, sort of diagonally. There, this corner. And the middle ones, and then just go around giving them all a final tweak up. Okay, so that's all of them tightened now in sort of like an even order, and all nice and tight. I tried it when it was just a 3 just to see if it worked, and yeah, the heating was coming on and that. The temperature seemed to stabilise fine, so it's just a matter now of popping the top back on under the clips. Awkward doing this while holding the camera, but see it's under the clips now, it's firmly down. Swing them in there, fit the magnetic top. So we've got the top back on now, everything seems okay, it's getting warm, it seems to be stabilising at the right temperature. So I'll just turn this light off, and at this stage obviously it'd be a good idea to re-level the bed, so just go through the automatic bed levelling process. So we'll let that run now and everything should be okay. So that's the reading after the bed levelling. As you can see, they're all green apart from just this right hand side here and down where they're just blue. I feel that people get obsessed with this, trying to get it absolutely level. Well, to me it's pointless having auto bed levelling, which now puts these figures into its memory and it compensates for it. If you're going to just spend ages putting shims under and things like that, getting it absolutely totally level, you might as well just have a manual bed levelling. But that's only my opinion. Nothing's in the red anyway, so I'm happy with that. So yeah, let's try a print.
Okay, so as you saw there, it takes a reasonable amount of time because you've got to remove the whole bed with all them little spacer tubes and then screws and that, and pull the Kapton tape back. So I did all that, as you see, and well, you already know the result, but just this morning came into the did all that yesterday, and of course it was in a warm room when I did it, and it worked fine after, and the temperature stabilised on the bed. It reached 30, 40, 50, 60, getting hot each time. Didn't do a runaway overheat or anything like that, so I know the THERMISTOR is working. Everything was fine. I did a print after it. Beautiful, it worked out perfect. So, came in this morning, and let's have a look what happened when I tried it in a cold room.
Okay, it's the following morning now. It's Christmas Eve. As you can see, the green reading, it's 6 degrees in here now, and normally it won't come on. So this is a live test. You're going to experience either the agony or the ecstasy with me. So when we turn it on, if we still get the yellow screen of death, well, so be it. I'm going to have to live with it and keep using the hairdryer, but fingers crossed. This is it, first turning on of the new THERMISTOR in a cold room. Let's see what happens. Nothing yet. Let's go through the setup and start turning the bed heater on. Temperature. Nozzle first. So that's our nozzle and bed. Oh, I don't believe it. Unbelievable. So, exactly the same problem. So it wasn't, never even was the THERMISTOR. What a waste of time. Okay, I'm still going to put this video on YouTube in case it's of any use of anybody actually needing to replace the THERMISTOR. So it looks like I'm just going to keep on getting the hairdryer out.
So there, you shared my anguish live. Absolutely no different. So that's the stage I'm up to now. I'll just show you now, if I'd heat it up with the hairdryer, what I normally do. I'll show you what happens.
So here we are, just minutes after that live failure. I thought I'll just show you the hairdryer routine I have to do. So if I get a hairdryer, I've even tried heating the hot end up with a hairdryer. That doesn't do it. But if I heat it up this time, under here, hope you can hear me okay. Right, this usually does the trick, did with the old THERMISTOR. See if it does with this. If this doesn't work, I will be mad. Well, bed temperature. Bed temperature selected, bed temperature rising. Once it's been heated up with the hairdryer, so exactly the same as before with the brand new THERMISTOR, which is a weird one.
So there you have it. It didn't work, as you quite plainly saw. So, you notice a mistake I said in there, the room temperature was 6, so I was looking at the outside temperature, it was 12, so it just shows you 12 degrees isn't particularly cold, is it really? So somewhere between 12 and, say, 20 is, it's not working until you heat it up. So, if anybody has got any clue what it is, it says THERMISTOR fault, you put a new THERMISTOR on and it isn't the THERMISTOR. And like I say, I checked before at the motherboard, the connections were solid, and yeah, I'm at a total loss what it is. So, anybody with any ideas, please, please, please put them in the comments. I promise I will answer every one. And if I find the solution, I'll do a video about what the solution is. So, like I say, I hope it's still been of some use to anybody fitting a THERMISTOR for any other reason, like a runaway temperature or whatever. Hopefully, it's still of some use for that. And I still love it. Still love the CR6. The results are fantastic. Like I say, I know it got a lot of slagging off at the beginning, but I've always liked it, and yeah, apart from this one little fault which I can live with, I think it's a great printer. So hopefully I will see you very, very soon. I'm not sure whether I'll get this up in time for Christmas. It's Christmas Eve at the moment. It's getting quite late now. It's 4:45. I've got the whole thing to edit together. But if I don't, I hope you had. If I do get it up in time, I hope you have. If it's after Christmas, I hope you had a great Christmas. And I've got loads coming in the new year and no planning on slowing down. Hopefully loads on the new MG as well. And maybe even a solution to this problem. So thanks again for watching. If you do want to subscribe, please click the little picture here of the shed and the bell icon below, and you'll be informed of any uploads. Please give me a thumbs up if you've liked it, a thumbs down if you don't like it, and I hope I'll catch you in the new year for some fresh videos. Thanks for watching this one. Bye for now.